Look, I get it. Government legislation can sound, well, a bit dry, right? But trust me, when it's about to change the rules for your tax-free savings, it's time to pay attention. A massive shift is coming to UK ISAs in 2026. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what it means for your money. So let's just get straight to the point. The big question on your mind should be this: how are my tax-free savings about to change? Because, and let's be absolutely clear about this, they are changing. Getting your head around these new rules is crucial for your investment strategy going forward. All right, to really get what's happening in 2026, we actually need to rewind the clock a little. Let's go all the way back to 1998. That's when the original individual savings account regulations first came into being. Now fast forward nearly 30 years, and a really important amendment is on its way, basically designed to drag that trusted old ISA framework into the modern world. So first, let's quickly touch on that foundation. ISAs were set up with one simple but really powerful goal: to let you save and invest your money without paying a penny in income or capital gains tax. For a whole generation, they've been the absolute cornerstone of tax-efficient saving here in the UK. And you know the drill. The whole ISA scheme is built around these different pots, or components. You've got your cash ISA, your stocks and shares ISA, the innovative finance ISA, or ISA, and of course, the lifetime ISA, the LISA. Each one has its own specific rules about what you can stash inside it. And guess what? That's exactly what these new regulations are about to completely shake up. Okay, now for the first major update, and this one's a biggie. For the very first time, a specific type of crypto-related asset is being given a proper, formal, regulated home right inside the ISA wrapper. This is, and I'm not exaggerating, a monumental shift. So you're probably asking, what on earth is this new asset? Well, it's officially called a UK Cryptoasset Exchange-Traded Note, or ETN for short. The easiest way to think about it is like a tracker you'd buy on an exchange. But instead of tracking, say, the FTSE 100, it tracks the price of a crypto asset, like Bitcoin. Now, the definition in the law is super specific. It has to be traded on a UK exchange, and this is crucial, it pays zero interest. It's all about capital growth. Okay, so where can you actually hold one of these things? The legislation is crystal clear on this point. They are only qualifying investments for the innovative finance ISA. They are explicitly barred from the standard stocks and shares ISA. You can't put them there. This separation is totally deliberate, and it's a really critical distinction to get lodged in your brain. Right, on to the second big change. This one involves something called long-term asset funds, or LTAFs. If you think of those crypto ETNs as finally getting their own brand new home, well, you can think of LTAFs as moving house to a much more mainstream address. And not new address is the stocks and shares ISA. So what exactly are these LTAFs? Well, basically, they're funds that invest in what we call illiquid assets. It's just a fancy way of saying things you can't sell in a hurry. We're talking about private companies or huge infrastructure projects, things like bridges and wind farms. They're designed for long-term growth, and now they're being moved right into the most common type of ISA out there. So why does this matter to you? Simple. It's all about accessibility. By popping these funds into the ISA type we're almost familiar with, the government's basically trying to make them available to more everyday investors and just, well, streamline the whole system. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Whenever rules like this change, the first question that pops into your head is, hang on, what about the stuff I already own? Well, the good news is the regulations have specific transition rules built in to protect your existing investments. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty, there is one date you absolutely must burn into your memory. Ready? It's April 6th, 2026. Think of it as the magic date. Pretty much everything hinges on whether you held these assets before that day. So let's walk through this. Scenario 1. What if you already hold a crypto ETN inside your stocks and shares ISA? Well, as long as you owned it immediately before that April 6th date, the law says it is treated as a qualifying investment. This is what's known as a grandfathering clause. In plain English, you don't have to sell it. You don't have to move it. Your existing investment is safe and sound. And it's a very similar story for the LTAFs. If you happen to have one sitting in an innovative finance ISA before the rules changed, then from that magic date, April 6th, 2026, it's just automatically treated as if it's in a stocks and shares ISA. The whole migration is totally seamless. You literally don't have to lift a finger. And finally, there's a little behind-the-scenes change. The new rules add a new layer of oversight.
Your ISA provider, your bank or broker, now has to specifically report the value of any LTAFs and crypto ETNs you hold directly to HMRC. Now, this doesn't really affect you day to day, but it's a good thing. It adds more transparency and ultimately investor protection to the whole system.
Phew. Okay, I know that was a lot of legislative detail, so let's just boil it all down, shall we? Here are the 3 simple, absolutely crucial takeaways that every single investor needs to know. Number 1, crypto is getting official. UK-regulated crypto ETNs now have a proper home in the Innovative Finance ISA. Number 2, LTAFs are on the move. Those long-term funds are shifting into the mainstream stocks and shares ISA, which should make them much easier to access. And number 3, and this is the big one, your assets are protected. If you held these investments before that all-important date, April 6, 2026, you are covered.
And so we end right back where we started, with a question for you. We've just walked you through the new map for tax-free investing. So now that you know the new rules of the game, is your ISA ready for 2026?